Hi everybody, welcome to Rascals Crafts. Well, that time has come. I have run out of excuses to start my first project. I've come up with every excuse I could think of. Needed to get my shop in order. It's done. I needed to have all my equipment. I got everything. Well, almost everything. Then the last excuse was I don't have the guts. Well, I'm taking that big leap now. I'm going to see how big of a fool I can make of myself. As I teased earlier, my first project is this baby. It's a Tonka toy. Okay, I teased that it was 1958, and I was wrong. And I will explain how I was wrong when I get into the ID portion of this. There are some subtle differences between the 1958 and the 1959. What I have is a 1959 pickup number 2. So this toy was made the year I was born. So it's 63 years old. And I think it's in pretty good condition for its age. It's in better condition than I am. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to focus the camera on the toy so that we can see how I figured out what year this was. Okay, so this is the ID sheet that I was talking about. As you can see, it goes from the year of the truck 1958 to 1961, and it tells all the differences between those 4 years. So I received this ID sheet from the website tonkatoys.com, so I'm pretty sure it's accurate. So let's get on with IDing this truck. Okay, here we go. As you can see, it's a pickup. It's a step side. That's what this shows. It's got the wheel wells and it's got the square body. Okay. Now, one of the differences, according to the sheet that I'll put up on the screen here, it shows that from 1958 until 1961, the trucks were what were called square body. Okay, square fender. So that's this. Before this time, the fenders were rounded. The hoods were all rounded. It was I personally think, a sleeker style, but this is the one we've got. So, here's the differences between the trucks. In 1958, the hubcaps had 5 round holes in them. 1959, they came with either 5 triangle holes or solid disc. So we got a solid disc. So that's one way to show it. The tires in 1958 were just plain. 1959, they were either plain or they had the white walls. 58 had chains for the tailgate. Now, as you can see, the tailgate on this one is missing. I do have a new tailgate, but I don't have the holes right here in these tabs for the chain to connect to the truck. So again, it's a 1959. So, what do I have to have on this truck? Well, of course, I need a new tailgate. I have one. I bought one. If you take a look at the wheels, they are pretty mangled. They're not going to turn properly. Okay? And that's on both sides. Okay? See how loose and sloppy that one is? I bought 4 new wheels. I bought 4 new white walls and 4 new hubcaps. So I have everything I need to do that. The windshield. I have a new windshield. The grill and the headlights I have new. I'm going to see if I can bring the bumper back to life, which might mean I have to nickel plate it. And if that's the case, we're going to learn something new. So those are the parts I need to finish this truck up. But you'll also see whoever owned this truck before me drilled a hole here and put a piece of wire in it. So I have to close those holes up. I'm going to try to solder it because that's the best way of doing it, metal to metal. If I can't do that for whatever reason, if it burns holes into this metal, then I'll probably use JB Weld because it's metal-ish. Okay? So, other than that, I have some, if you take a look, I've got some straightening to do. Looks like they may have pushed down really hard on the cab. I've got to reform the bed so it's, you know, the sides and everything look good. And there are 2 tabs here. One here and one here. This is the one that the tailgate closes in on. And that little tab sticks through the tailgate. Well, on this side, that tab is missing. Okay? This tab is supposed to be bent down. So I have to do that. Now, I didn't buy a whole new bed. I don't want the new bed. I want the original bed. New tires, new windshield, that's fine. But I want the truck to be as original as I can. So, I'm going to have to make these tabs. The best way of doing that is welding metal, adding metal to it, and then forming it with files to get it to the right size. I'll be doing that. So, and of course, we have to disassemble it. We have to strip it. We have to, again, fix anything that has to be fixed. And then we have to paint it. Pictures I've seen of this, they came in a bronze, a blue. Other people that have restored them have painted them whatever color they wanted to. Black, red, whatever. I want to try and get it original. So hopefully I'll find more of this blue color paint and we'll be able to get it to match. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is try and take these hubcaps and white walls off. Now I don't want to destroy them. I want to try and save the hubcaps for any future projects I may have if I can bring them back to life. So, it's real easy to take them apart. You can see it's already crumbling the white wall on there. Oof. Ah, somebody glued them together. Take a look at that. Isn't that wonderful of them? Looks like they just put foam adhesive in to keep it in there. Okay. Now let's go ahead and take out the white wall. I'm glad I bought new tires. Yeah, this is just crumbling. There's no way to save it. Next one, let's see about it. Did they do the same thing to this one? go. Nope. No foam adhesive in there. But the white wall is still trashed. Now, if I was trying to save these things, what I would do is I would take my heat gun out and I would heat them up slightly, which would allow this rubber piece to get soft and make it easier to take off. Now, see, that's actually pretty clean inside there. Not much rust. So again, hopefully I can save those hubcaps. Okay, even though there's only 3 of them. But hey, in a future project, I may only need 1. So, okay, so let's go ahead and take the white wall out. Now you'll see, if you watch other videos, you'll see guys wearing gloves to do this, and it's almost like they're trying to do surgical procedures. Personally, I don't see the point in that. After all, they're getting thrown away. Something I may do in the future, if I want to keep something, I'll go ahead and put gloves on, just so I don't have to worry about damaging it. Okay, so, and then the last tire, it is... doesn't have the hubcap or the white wall. But again, it is all messed up. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see what's going on here. This is a solid end, okay? When these axles are made, what they've done is they had a rounded cap, which is hidden by the white wall and the hubcap. And on the other side, and you can see it here easily, there is a washer. Okay, and then they just peened over the end of the axle to trap the washer between the to keep it from popping out. Okay, so, but this one over here, I don't know what they did over here. I'll have to see what I can do about that. There's going to be plenty of room for me to do whatever I need to do with it. But in order to take this one off, I'm going to have to remove that edge right here around that axle. And to do that, I use my Dremel tool. Okay? Now, I have to be very careful when I do this, because I don't want to damage anything else. Okay? Okay, so that tire came off. That one comes off. And I can take that one off of the axle. I'm going to save the axle, okay, because I don't want to try and replace this. All I have to do is, when I put it back on, put a washer on it, peen over the end, and it'll work great as new. after I take the rust to make it all nice and purty. Let's see here. I think that's just rusted on. So let me go ahead and try something. There we go. Yep, the washer was just rusted to the tip. So now we'll go ahead and take off the rolled edge. Okay, there's the other axle. On older model Tonka toys, they mainly use two methods of securing the pieces together. For instance, here for the bed of the truck to the frame, they used two rivets. And then they also used two rivets on the front that held the bumper to the cab. They also used things like the tabs that they would bend over. So in order to remove the rivets, I'm going to have to take out my Dremel tool or a drill and drill out that piece. Well, like a moron, I went and drilled out the rivets for the bed of the truck with the truck not being within the camera shot. So I went ahead and cut that portion, and I'm putting in this one for the front bumper. Okay, so the rivets are gone. I need to take that one out of here. That one fell out. And this is the bumper. Okay, looks like they may have done a little work to this before. Tried to clean it up or something. So now, since the bumper is off, I can move the tabs that hold the cab to the frame. Tell you, this metal is stronger than I would think it should be. Excuse me. Okay, they're pretty close. So you pull forward, lift up. Okay, so there we have the cab off of the frame. I don't see any paint on there. I was hoping I would have some fresh paint that I could use for color matching, but nothing there. Okay, so now we're going to take the roof off. Okay, if you take a look inside here, let me turn on the light. Let me see if it'll work. Okay. See the tab? It's twisted slightly. And this tab here is twisted slightly. So, have to get in here, straighten them. Same with that one. Now it should come off. Okay, so we got the roof off. Again, no paint, but it's bent up. You can see where there's bends to it and a little bit of a bend right here. So, we'll go ahead and fix that. The rest of the cab, I need to get that wire out of it. Cut the wire, and now I just have 2 holes I have to fix. Okay, so now it's time to take off the bed. Okay, there are 3 parts to the bed: 2 fenders and the bed itself. The fenders you have to take off first. So, in order to take off the fenders, there is a tab on the inside of each one, and then there are 2 tabs underneath that also have to be removed, or not removed, but bent straight so it can come off. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll start with the inside. Ooh, I broke that tab off. I'm going to have to refix that. I'm going to have to add metal to the fender, or I'm going to have to buy new fenders, and I don't want to do that. So we'll see what I can do about replacing this tab onto that fender. So I've got to keep that. What happens with the other side? And when you take that off, of course, wonder what those were. They're very rusted, whatever they were. I'll see what I can figure those out. I'll soak them in rust remover and see what happens. See what happens to them. Hopefully they don't disintegrate. Okay. So, we now have the bed off. And we can now see how much damage there actually is to it. And we can see that there wasn't any holes for the chain to go through. So this is definitely 1959. Okay, now that's the tab I was talking about. I'm going to have to replace because it broke off just as I touched it. And that tab on this side, okay, this tab just broke off in my hand. and this one has been gone for a little while. So now that we have these off, I can go ahead and get it ready for sandblasting. And this is the frame. It's all one piece. And you can see over here, this piece right here, that is what holds the tailgate on. Okay, the tailgate hooks onto these hooks on either end. Okay, so now it's time for the next step in the operation. We're going to have to clean all of these parts up or replace the ones that we no longer want to use. So, just to see how good it does, I'm going to put the hubcaps, these discs, the bumper, and this piece of wire, along with the 2 axles, into rust remover. I've got a little basket here to put them in, so this sets them off of the top. Bring it over to my rust remover. And drop them in. Okay, now it's going to take a few hours for this to actually do any good, but that'll give us a chance to work on the sandblasting. Okay, I have a parts cleaner here, and inside that parts cleaner I have Simple Green. The Simple Green is a safe, non-toxic cleaner that's used every place. It is a degreaser. You can see I'm wearing my gloves, and I'm also going to wear my mask so that I don't get splashing into my eyes. Okay, I'm done washing the main parts of the truck. One of the advantages of doing this, I can find out here, is that I'm able to see what color the truck was. And it was the tan color. Okay, so now I don't have to try and guess that. I thought it was the blue that was on that one, was on the bed of the truck, but that washed right off. So, and you can see that it's not really clean. There's no dirt and there's no dust, no anything like that on it. This is now just pure rust. And so that's my next thing, would be to sandblast the rust and the original paint off of this. Hello everybody. While I was filming this, if you watched my introduction video, I told people that I have retired, and the main reason for me retiring was so I become the primary caregiver for my mother-in-law, 81 years old. While filming this in just about this area of the filming, I was called into the house. I have a doorbell in the garage in my workshop that if my mother-in-law needs me, she pushes a button that hangs around her neck. The doorbell rings, I come in the house and see what she wants. Well, the doorbell rang. I turned everything off, went in the house in time to start doing CPR on my mother-in-law. She did pass away last week, and I have been doing things dealing with that. So that's why it's taking a little bit longer to finish this video. I am going to dedicate this video to my mother-in-law, Catherine Hatfield. She's a wonderful woman. I loved her very much. I miss her very much. So, back to the video. Thank you. Okay, I did go out and I received more sandblasting medium. It's called coal slag. Still didn't do anything. So I need to figure out what I have to buy. I think it's going to be glass beads, but I can't find any locally. I'm going to have to order it. So instead, I went ahead and I soaked all of the parts in the rust remover, got the majority of the rust off, and then I took a wire wheel and sandpaper to it. I didn't record all that because it was a very long process. So we will go ahead and pick it up from after I pulled it out of the rust remover and took the wire wheel out. Okay, so as you can see, it came out halfway decent. Still got a little bit of surface rust in there, but I think if I throw it inside the rust remover again, it'll take care of the rest of that. It didn't do any more damage to these parts that I'm showing you. Okay. The roof came out really nice. Okay. Now, in order to get to the inside of this, I had to go through and use my Dremel tool, wire wheel, and I went through 3 of them, just trying to get the insides of some of these pieces. Okay? So you can see I got the majority of it off. Now the fun is going to be sanding it, get the rest off. And again, 99% of the rust is removed. I do have to get the rest off. The issue I ran into is when I started working on the truck bed, it started disintegrating on me. I can't fix that. I've watched other YouTubers go ahead and just rebend, take a fresh piece of metal, rebend it, and make it look wonderful. But I don't have that ability. So I'm going to have to buy a replacement bed from Gasoline Alley or something like that. And you can see how badly it just disintegrated. Just really bad. We can now also see the holes easier. Now these I can repair because the metal is still somewhat sturdy on here. Nothing is rusted through. And I can fix those with my welder. And then, sand them flat, clean them up, and go ahead and this will be ready to go. So today, I'm not going to bore you with watching me do a bunch of sanding. Not going to happen. I'm going to be bored blanking myself. When I get to the point where I'm going to weld these two spots, then I will come back on and start filming again. There's also dents that I have to take out. You can see right here how it's pushed in. Here where it's pushed out, I've got to fix those, and that's just with a hammer and anvil. And then, if you look carefully, you'll see all the pitting that is in here because of the rust. There's numerous ways of fixing that. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to put very thin coats of Bondo on it to make it nice and smooth after I've taken out all the dents. You can also use JB Weld. It's harder to work with, and the Bondo will work just fine. Okay, as you can see, this is me doing some welding. I have to admit, this is the very first time I've actually ever done any welding, except for practice. The first time I hit that top hole, I actually blew a bigger hole into it, so I had to repair the larger hole. The lower hole actually went a lot smoother, so have fun watching me make a fool of myself. As you can see, I've finished the welding, covered all the holes, and for the most part I have smoothed it out. The easiest way to do that is to use a file or a grinding wheel on a Dremel. Well, I did the grinding wheel first, and I'm just trying to finish up all of the minor stuff. Okay, there we go. I'm now going to go ahead and hit it with some Bondo to cover up the cracks and stuff like this, take care of all the pitting, and that way there I'll be able to see what else I have to do. When working with Bondo, it's always a good idea to start with small batches. You don't want this stuff drying up before you get it applied. Okay, here we go. This is the body pieces that I have gone through and put Bondo in to smooth them out. Let's go ahead and take a look at them one at a time. Okay, so as you can see, this is the main cab area. This is filled in quite nice. It's nice and smooth. The other hole has also filled in nicely. This is all nice and smooth going up through in here. Everything feels good. Here's the fun part. We won't know how it actually is until we put a coat of primer on it, because that will make all the flaws come out nice and sharp. Okay, here's the roof area. Again, all the small pits have been filled in. If we see anything wrong, it'll be because there's still Bondo that's too high on it. And here's the frame. And once again, everything's nice and smooth. I don't feel anything as far as anything standing up. It's going to get in the way. So, and the bottom of it. And again, nice and smooth. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the paint booth and put a coat of primer on these. Hello everybody. Well, as you can see, I've done the first coat of primer on the truck body, the hood, and the frame. Now one thing good about doing primer on these things is it points out all of your problems, such as I still have some low spots in here. Okay, over here you can see it's not very smooth. Over here, haven't even looked at the bottom of this one. I got some high spots still, which I have to sand down. This here is a combination of low and high. You can see a nice ridge there. So I need to resand this. And the great part about this is when I resand it, I will be able to tell when I've got everything. Now here's the issue though. With the low spots, once I sand it, I'll have to re-bondo again. The bondo process will fill in all those lows, and then you put in another coat of primer on it and you check it again. So I'm going to go ahead and start the sanding process. What I'm using is 320 grit for the initial sanding on this. Okay, and I like to fold it and then excuse me, cut it into pieces. That way there I'm not wasting a lot of sandpaper. Okay, I've got some water over here. Get that wet. Get part wet. Okay, and only get wet the part that you're going to be sanding at the moment. There's no reason to get the whole thing wet just to let it dry while you're sanding. Some important parts about the sanding. If you sand with your fingers going like this, what's going to happen is you're going to end up with streaks in the paint where the grooves of your fingers are. So never sand straight like that. You want to either go in circles or go side to side. Okay, that way there you don't get those streaks. So let's go ahead and start the sanding process. Okay, so here you can now see where the low parts are. Wherever there is primer, it's an indentation. Wherever there's metal, it's smooth. Okay? So once I get this whole thing sanded down and I get the roof sanded and the body sanded, then I'll go ahead and I'll re-primer everything. Or I'm sorry, I'll re-bondo to fill in all of those low spots that I'll be able to see. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and finish this sanding and then I'll come back and bring you back on. Okay, so after the first sanding, this is what we've come up with. I've circled all the spots that I have to re-bondo. I can feel little ridges and stuff like that inside here. This is all very smooth, so I don't have to worry about any of that. There's a little spot here on the cab that needs to be done here in this corner. Okay, see, I don't know if you can see, but there are dimples in it, so I need to redo that. Right here at the very front where I did the welding, I need to rework that just a little bit. This side came out pretty well, not any issues, nice and smooth. The top, again, that came out very smooth, so I don't have to worry about that. The roof came out great. There is nothing on here that I feel I need to rework. It's all nice and smooth, ready for another coat of primer, and then paint. This one is the real pain in the neck. You can see I've got a lot of circles around those. Right through here I need to rework. Here I need to rework. In the corners. On the bottom I've got a bunch of spots that need to be redone. On the sides you can see all the spots. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rebond, put more Bondo on to fill up the rest of these spots, and then shoot another coat of primer. Hello everybody. Okay, it's been quite a while later. I've been busy. I did a few things like renovated my guest bathroom and stuff like that. So this, I only work on it basically on Fridays. That's what I call my day off. My wife and everybody knows not to ask me to do anything during those times or during that day so that I can concentrate on what I want to do. So, as you can see, everything is painted. I was not at all happy with the cab of the truck. Not at all happy. I had so many dimples, so much bad stuff that I ended up completely stripping it again. Took all the paint, all the primer, and most of the Bondo out. And I went and refilled everything using JB Weld. JB Weld is a epoxy that has metal shavings in it. And what that does is it actually adheres better, and it fills in holes and stuff like that better. And when I go to sand it, it comes out a lot smoother. So I redid the cab. I also redid, where is it? Oh, there it is. I also redid the roof. And since I had some extra of the JB Weld mixed, I went and did the original fenders. And the original fenders came out extremely well. The only thing that I am worried about is this tab. That's a tab that I welded on and fabricated, because if you remember when we were taking this apart, it broke off. So actually this is the one that I did that to. But it's turned out very nice. So instead of using the new ones that I bought, I'm going to go ahead and use these as long as that tab stays on. If that tab breaks off, I will have to go ahead and use the new ones. But there's differences between the new ones and the originals. As you can see, the originals are smooth all the way around, where the ones that I purchased with the bed of the truck have this flare. I can't get that flare out of there, so it won't be the same. And you can see that the curve is different also. So if I don't have to use these, I'm not going to use these. It came with the bed, so I didn't pay any extra for them, but at least I will be able to get the truck together if these originals don't work. The reason I had to go with the new truck bed is because I went ahead and tried to fill in all these holes. I wanted to try and save the original truck bed. My issue was every time I filled a hole, a new one started, because this metal is paper thin. I just was not able to do it properly. So maybe with more practice, I'll be able to get it right. But as it sits right now, in order to get this finished, I'm going to go ahead and just use a new bed. And as I have time, maybe I'll pick this thing up and see about repairing it and possibly swap it out later. Okay? So, I have everything I need now. Okay, so we're going to start with the bed. Okay. Now, in order to install the bed, the first thing I have to do is put in the tailgate holder. Okay? Because that rests on top of it, just like that. Oh, another thing I had to do while I was waiting for this is I tested the contraption that I made to install these rivets. And you can see it right here as I put it in. Well, the thing that I made was basically a C-clamp with the pad taken off of it. It didn't work. It just mangled the rivet when I tried to put it in. So I had to actually break down and buy the Tonka rivet tool. Okay, and that's this thing right here. This was $105, and for just doing these rivets. So let's go ahead and install some rivets. Gotta be careful. It's gotta stay inside there. Okay, yeah, this is gonna be fun. Okay, there's one. Woohoo! Go ahead and do the other one. Okay, wonderful. Now we'll go ahead and install the fenders. I want to install the one that I had to make the tab for, so I can tell if it breaks off or not. And of course it doesn't fit. Okay, I'm gonna have to use the original or the ones that I purchased. Darn it. That. In an attempt to protect the paint, I have gone and put electrical tape around the jaws of my pliers so that when I grab on to bend the tabs and stuff, it won't scratch the paint, hopefully. Okay, so having a hard time with that one, so I'll start with the bottom ones. These should go a little easier, I hope. There we go. There, fenders are on, and the bed is secure. Okay, great. Now we'll do the cab. Okay, this tab fits inside this hole. Okay, actually, these tabs right here go into these holes right there. So, line it up inside there, push it backwards. These have lined up really well. And then we can lock it into position by bending these over. The bed and the cab are now secure. Okay, there we go. Now, excuse me, go ahead and put on the grill. And these are held very simply with the headlights. Like that. The front bumper is held on with 2 rivets. Okay, so tighten this down a little bit more. Okay, front bumper and grille are attached. Now let's put on the windshield. Goes right there. The hood, or the roof, I should say. Okay, this side is down, this side is not. What's going on here? Okay, it's on. Not too bad looking. Put on the tailgate. There we go. There, tailgate's on. And now it's time for the wheels.
After I cleaned up the axles from the old one, they were so badly pitted I couldn't use them, so I had to buy new axles. The axle on the left is the way I received it. In the middle is how it was after I took the wire wheel off to it, and then the last one is after it's been zinc plated.
So, time for the tires. So, we need an axle, a washer on the axle, which will help the tire to turn, a tire, slide that in there, and in there. Okay. And we need something to place under there. Okay. Another tire. Another washer, and then instead of peening this over like they did at the factory, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put push nuts on the axle. That way there it'll be easier if somebody in the future wants to take it apart again. All they have to do is remove that push nut. Okay. Same thing for the front. Washer, wheel, washer, and push nut. is hitting. That's good. Nothing's hitting, so, oh, okay, so, it rolls. We got a rolling chassis. Woohoo! So, now, for the hubcaps and the white wells. Okay, one final thing. Need to put on the decals. These are decals just like you would find on a plastic model car. The decal itself is slides off the backing paper onto where you need it. Just gotta let it get wet. Nope, not yet. And we have a completed truck. Let me go ahead and get the camera situated so that it can be seen easier, and I'll be right back. Okay, here's the finished product. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. It's a long ways from perfect. But at my current skill level, as far as body work and stuff like that go, it's about as close as I'm going to be able to get it. More than likely what I will end up doing is revisiting it at a later date when I have more skill. And a second here. Trying to get a little bit more light on the subject. There we go. Some of the things that aren't perfect about it is I didn't get this perfectly smooth, and I'm not real happy about that. You can see that there are a couple little dents in here, indentations from the Bondo, but for the most part, well, it's a lot better than what it was. I'll go ahead and put another shot of the original, the way it looked before we started. But as you can see, all this looks really nice. The glass is in it, decals, white walls, everything is as it should be, where it should be, and it's not in bad condition. It's a lot better. I wouldn't be ashamed of a child playing with this. It will last many, many, many more years. It's almost 63 years old right now, and it's got a new lease on life. It's got better primer than it had when it came out of the factory. It's got better paint. It's got clear coat, so it should actually last quite a bit longer if it just doesn't go on my shelf, being my first project. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them down on the comment section. I'd love to hear them. If you have no better ways of doing things, let me know, because I need to learn. Okay, again, thanks for being patient with me. I know it's taken a long time for this to get done. Had some family issues, which I explained earlier, and I'm glad I was finally able to get it finished. Take care, God bless, have a wonderful rest of your week.